Hello and welcome to my Spiritborn build. This time for season 11, the actual live season. And yeah, what's the build about? The build is about keep poisoning your enemies with a toxic trail you leave behind when you activate your toxic skin, and rushing around with a rushing claw. And rushing claw leaves always the trail with the poison behind you. You are lightning fast. You can target farm elite mobs just skipping the trash. And if you get to one of your packs, you keep grouping a pack, use your gorilla skill to group it, and then keep poisoning the enemies, keep proccing them with your rushing claw, and activate noxious resistance to do this enhanced damage. You can skip like elite packs with elemental resistances if you don't like, or the elite packs that does the shield buff where it's invulnerable. And it's really nice to group. It's really nice to hover through the map really fast. It's if you have enemies, you are faster than a weight build, but you don't clearing all the trash. That's the difference between evade. Damage-wise, it's really nice. You can see it's pit 100 and it's really melting the enemies. Yeah, it can be a little bit faster. You can see it sometimes I have some lag spikes here and there. So I managed to do one pit in 3 minutes for pit 100. I think that's all right with my current gear stats. And yeah. In fact, you have to do a little skill rotation. You have Vortex. Enhanced Vortex is just to proc 20% damage on your toxic skin. So you just keep your Vortex until your toxic skin is ready. Press Vortex, then press instantly toxic skin. And a little bit of the same you can do with the gorilla skill. You keep one of your dodge, 100% dodge stacks, and then activate it with your gorilla, so you have a 100% dodge uptime all the time. That doesn't prevent those fire explosions from elites to kill you. They ignore dodge, and these words ignore dodge too. So keep in mind that you can't dodge that. Yeah, so let's jump into the gear. And yeah, what do we have here? We use the Spirit Hall Gorilla for another barrier and to activate a lot of other stuff. Especially in addition, we use Eagle. And Eagle gets us a nice 20% multiplier. Keep in mind we play a dot build, so we don't need attack speed, we don't need crit chance, we don't need crit damage, we don't need overpower, we just plain stack damage. All these other skills are useless for us. Yes. So the Eagle Hall is very nice, and the Eagle Hall is also the hall that gives you the most damage multiplier, so we need this. And to activate both, we use Harmony of Everwalker to keep it up. Let's jump a little bit into the skills. On the first boards, nothing crazier. You need 2 points and you can spend it like you want. It doesn't matter. So we have the third one here, and that's the important one. We use Toxic Skin, of course. Then the enhanced toxic skin, of course, and here we do some critical strikes to nearby vulnerable enemies. Those come in little handy. It's just additional damage. It's not too crazy. What we do here is evade while we dodge, and we dodge fairly often to activate acceleration. So another dodge debuff. This can be placed otherwise. You don't need 3 here. You can use 1. It's already okay. Then we have Unrestrained Power. This is a damage multi. Nice. Focal Point is needed on 3. You have to do this because otherwise your enemies aren't vulnerable. It's the only source of vulnerable you have, and you need it to have 3 points. Yes, so that's another more damage, less damage. And here we have a little bit of fueled, a little bit of life on hit. That's nice to have for our temerity. Temerity. And we have concussive storm, well, because we do proc concussive storm through our boots to activate our knockdown, and it gives another barrier, so we are really good with barriers. Here we have more poison damage, and we have Dominion because we knock down enemies. We have resilience for more life. The damage multipliers from Eagle. Here you see you have to wait all 3 seconds. So because of this we took Mirage. Normally you would take Mirage on normal Spiritborn builds because you need to crit damage from the aspect, but we redirected force. But we don't use redirected force, so it's nice for us to dodge every attack. In fact, not every, a little bit you have to look to activate some concussive storms in 10 seconds. So if you have some trash mobs, just leave them to hit you and activate your concussive storm. Keep that in mind, otherwise you don't proc your Dominion. Yeah, here we have some other damage multiplier. We use the gorilla to group our enemies. That's the classic, more damage, the supremacy, and noxious resistance on our passive, key passive. Yeah, that does our damage. Every crit unleashes the poison that we have. So a big stack of this of poison is recommended, and that leads to the point we use Shattered Foe. Shattered Foe increases the dot damage over time duration on 111%. The calculation here is wrong because damage over time duration gets increased on live servers. The stat increases more, so it's 139 actually on the live server. So the damage calculation here is a little bit less than it's on the live server is. Yeah. So how do you achieve get a really big dot? We use the Shadowed Foe, of course, and then we keep stacking Toxic Skin. Toxic Skin has by far the best stacking, skill stacking ability from Spiritborn, because it has a hidden aspect, and this is every fifth rank, it gets a huge bonus increase of damage of the space damage. This keeps getting little and little until level 45. I think 35 was the last really good increase. You can do the 42, but after that it doesn't really matters a lot. Then at that point damage multipliers get more worth than stacking another ranking. But either way, it's really crazy how big this dot can be. In combination with Shadowed Foe and in combination with another, I think it's Ring of the Midday Hunt, but later to it. Yeah. So our gear is a Harmony of Everwalker to unlock both Spirit Halls, to unlock both damage multipliers. That's the main part of it. We use the Zir Vex on it for more skill ranks. He helps us with cooldown on the Gorilla skill and helps us with damage on Toxic Skin. Then we use Shroud of False Death for the plus 1 passive, yeah, classic one. Then we use Hesha Exungi for 11 skill ranks. And in fact, this is very important here, because you need to get this build unlocked. You need 10 skill points on Ravager. Otherwise, this build will not work. Because you need a minimum ferocity of 4. This minimum ferocity is used by Rushing Claw, because Rushing Claw, if it charges running out, consumes 4 claws. But when it consumes 4 claws, there are minimum 4 ferocity stacks. So it always resets. You have endless Rushing Claw. And so you need Ravager on 10. If you get an Hashiksungi with plus 11, that's insane. That's great. And if you get it with a high aspect, it's even greater. So you don't need any points here. You don't have to spend anything. Just put it in your box. You don't play with it. Just have it in your bar. And yeah, then we have Temerity. Temerity is the best legs that we can use, because of the really big uptime of the barrier. And barrier uptime is nice for defense, and barrier uptime is especially nice for Vicious Shield on your Paragon Knot. If you don't use this pants, you have to invest so much other barrier stuff, and even then I tested it really long. Even then it's not that good without Temerity. And it doesn't, you can't, how do I say it? You can't do enough damage to outperform Temerity's 100% uptime on the barrier, because Vicious Shield does stack so much with it. It's insane, and you can't do this otherwise. So Temerity is best in slot here. Then we have our boots. Our boots have to have +7 on Toxic Skin. And depending on how much movement speed you have, you can use a movement speed temper. You have to have 200 movement speed in the end for the not brilliance. You have to have 200. It's damage. Movement is damage. And you don't play evade where you get your movement speed for free. So you have to have movement speed. And yes, we used Aspect with Concussive Stomp to unlock our knockdowns. Keep in mind, if you dodge a lot with counter attack, you use this often. And you need some windows in 10 seconds to activate your Dominion. So, otherwise, you have real problems with this 20% multiplier. Then we use Shattered Foe. I already talked about it. We have a Gnome Rune on it for 15% more damage. Yeah, nothing crazy, but a little bit of insight. You activate Berserking on this. Berserking also gives plus 25% movement. So keep that in mind for the previous calculation from your Eagle Brilliant skill. It also gives plus 25% movement, and it gives plus 25% damage. That's what Berserking do. Yeah. Then we have the Amulet. Then we will use the Brawler aspect on it. Skill ranks come good, and we always use our Gorilla. The key is to have Gorilla under 8 seconds, so that's perfect for us, this aspect. Then, Then we have our Wound Drinker. Toxic Skin is important here, and damage to poisoned enemies. The other stats are unimportant, as the effect on it is nothing to bother to. So just have the star on Toxic Skin is enough to gamble on it for Sanctification. Then we have our Soul Watch Hoop, the normal legendary ring. And you need this at the start, because it's the number one aspect that you have to use. It's the Gorilla skill, increasing your weapon damage on 1500 bonus damage. And you get some protector cooldown on it too. Keep in mind to always get a star on the passives. You can roll long enough to get always a star on them. Yeah. If you get your protector cooldown on the amulet and on the ring, you'll have your cooldown on the protector like 7 to 8 seconds, and it's all good. And can proc to him all the time for your to keep your supremacy up, and to keep your brawler's aspect up and get everything going. So look that you have this one on 8 seconds. If you start with the guide, there's a no mythic build guide, and then you can swap the Ohm rune maybe for some ultimate cooldown reduction. So it's very easy. As you can see here, the damage is already nice. I did pit 100 with very near to this gear setup. Of course, it takes longer. I had very bad sanctifications. So you already can do a solid 100 with this gear, with some minor sanctifications. It is already enough. Let's jump to the sanctified one. If you get all right, the damage will jump insanely high. Yeah. So you see, it's the potential of this build is insane. And yeah, how we achieve this, the most thing what we change here is, if you really get lucky, you get on one of your aggressive slots, you get the gorilla skill with the bonus weapon, the unyielding one. If you get unyielding on one of the aspects, you can use Ring of the Midday Hunt. And if you use this, then you have big game changer, because increasing your poisoning on 34% is insane. And you get the +7 multiplier on nourishment too. This is really insane. Yeah, but you need the aspect. It's very lucky. On this we have the Harlequin's Crest one, would be best in slot. On this one we have Edge Master on it. On Shadowed Foe we have Barrier on it. Focus skills. Here we have, that's really important for Sanctification. And that's also the first one you want to get, the Resolve Temerity. So we can use Colossal Glyph on the build. And yeah, so you get damage from this, because Colossal do 2% damage on the stacks, so it's 10% more damage. And you get Resolve, and Resolve is a damage reduce, and so you can reduce your damage with Perseverance. It's really nice for survivability. You get damage, you get survivability. This is the easiest aspect and the first aspect you want to get from Sanctification. It took me like 50 Sanctifications in the PTR, and took me around 60 in the real server. It is manageable. It's not easy, it's manageable. Yeah, then we have another aspect here, damage aspect. We have poison damage on Shroud, and we have blocked chance per resolve for some other defense. If you work with some more dodge, you can also do poison damage here. Keep in mind, if you get the Midday Hunt, your Gorilla Protector skills is 11 seconds. You maybe want to swap the Vex rune, depending on how much toxic skin you have, or the Ohm rune. You will have change to keep this here on 8 seconds. You need to have this on 8 seconds. So you have to swap one of these to to get it in line. And I also have my actual gear always on the calculator. As you can see, it's alright, but to best in slot, it's a long way. Yeah. We have here, I have a picture for the Sanctification, and as you can see, for Sanctification, it's very easy to get Harmony of Aberwalker and Temerity, because the only real point in these two items are the effects on them. You need a Temerity with 90 plus barrier, and nothing else matters. Especially for, it's the same for Aberwalker too. You need a 40% Aberwalker. If is an ancestral or not, doesn't matter. If Temerity is an ancestral or not, it doesn't matter. The other stats doesn't matter in this way. You have to have a big effect. And that's why it's so easy to get. And that's why it's so easy to get the resolve aspect on the Temerity or on the Aberwalker. It doesn't matter on one of them. So you can fairly fast get this aspect and get your defense up. Otherwise you are a glass cannon. Yes, but those two are easy to get, so that's nice. Medium to get, Shadowed Foe. You can buy the glyphs on the auction house or in the trading chat. They are fairly cheap. Bug runes cost 500 million. Xan runes you can get for 50 millions. So Shattered Foe will cost you around 500 million gold. It's so easy to get, and you get swarmed by shards too. So I get it really fast, those foes. Wound Drinker and Ring of the Midday Hunt, they aren't very well traded, so I have to farm them. But you drop relatively often, especially on Belial, and you only need the right passive to get it rolling. So it's okay to get. The ring is also, you get a damage aspect, wool, or damage over time, and a dex star. It's okay. The rings are okay to get. Shadowed Foe is okay to get. The hard ones are the Shroud, because the glyphs are expensive. You can't get them in mass. The Hesheksungi is hard to get because you need the right star on the skill ranks, and you have to have a big aspect roll, 46 at least. Otherwise, the most you can roll on it will not be very valuable, because it keeps stacking up. If you have 30%, you miss 20, and it's doubled if I think it's knocked down or on bosses. So you miss 40% damage. You can't, even if you have a damage aspect roll on it, this aspect may not compensate the damage you're missing through the normal aspect. So you have to have a high aspect on Hesheksungi, and you have the star on the skill ranks. It's not too easy to get. I really rarely get one of these. Sadly, I really get rarely those boots, because Toxic Skin is a rare aspect and rare passive on it. So those are rare too. And yeah, if you get in two or three passive amulet, yeah, it's ultra rare. It's insanely rare. Yeah. So keep in mind, those are your best things here, and here you have to have a look out. I think that was all. There are variations. You can vary it with some of the stuff, depending on what sanctifications you get. But overall, I think this build performs very, very well. Has a lot of potential. Maybe not like the payback build actually, But I'm fairly sure that this will outperform with a good Sanctification, will outperform an evade build with similar Sanctifications. And yeah,